2 wheelchairs in the room.
Curt has joined us. Yeah, we both barely fit in here. We're both in wheelchairs and we're sitting next to each other. So we're like,
he's got
end of the screen.
He's got the big wheels on. Like it's not even snowing outside.
Go like this.
There you go.
Yeah.
As long as you've got that tower garden in the middle, then you're all framed up and set.
Yeah, you like that? It's pro shot, right, Scott?
Yeah.
Little camera action there.
Yeah, we didn't plan this at all. We didn't rearrange our whole set or anything.
I just got back from makeup and everything, so I'm good to go.
I'm looking a little shiny.
All right, we're recording, so let's get rolling. So thank you guys. Welcome to the Kennedy Murphy Juice Plus Men's Zoom. We do this call on the second Thursday of every month, and we've been doing it for about a year and a half. We've had some amazing speakers, and tonight is no exception for sure. Just so you guys know, the reason we started doing this call, one of the first conferences I went to, I heard this stat that our business was like 80 or 90% women. And as a guy in the business, I wanted to invite more men into the business and actually show men that this is a real and viable business that you can not only make a lot of money, but help a lot of people and do some amazing things and join an amazing community and amazing family. So this call is not just for men. I know it's called a men's call, but it's not just for men. Everybody is welcome. And the reason for that is, I know we have a lot of women in the business who may have skeptical husbands or husbands that don't support them at all. So this is for them. This is for men who are potential customers or business partners in the Juice Plus company. And, maybe they're looking for a career change or something. I'm looking for something real. This is really for everybody, but we want to make sure that all the guys out there both understand that this is a real deal, and we want them also to support their significant others. So my name is Craig Kennedy. I live in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and I've been with the Juice Plus company for about 2.5 years. My wife, Andy, and I are growing a business together. We've been doing it for about 4 years. And I got into taking Juice Plus. I was introduced to it about 11 years ago now, by a friend of mine who just called me up knowing I was in a wheelchair and saying, hey, I don't know if this is for you, but, I worry about all my friends' health and I thought this might be for you. So I got invited to hear Jennifer Myers speak in Steamboat Springs a few years ago and was convinced immediately that this was for me. And it's changed my life forever, for sure. I'm a 45-year-old guy in a wheelchair, and I'm as happy and healthy as I've ever been in my life, which I think says a lot. I never get sick, never, ever. And, I'm a big time into working out and sports and exercise and, athletics. And, man, it's allowed me to do so many things at my age and help me recover quicker and all kinds of things. Got into the business about 2 years ago when I got burned out in my nonprofit job. I was working 60 to 70 hours a week. It was a really cool job teaching people and kids and adults with disabilities how to ski and recreate. So it was a great job, but I was working way too many hours for way too little nonprofit pay. Honestly, for a boss who just didn't appreciate me. She just wasn't, tell people she wasn't a warm and fuzzy, I appreciate you kind of boss. So easy switch for me when it was time to get out of that nonprofit world. This was a perfect fit for me. So with that said, I'm going to introduce my partner, Mike Murphy, and he's going to tell you his story.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Murphy. I, too, am in a wheelchair alongside my buddy Craig here. 11 years ago, I was a junior in college when I fell off a roof. I landed flat on my back, and I severed my spine. I had been a two-sport athlete at the time, and afterwards, I continued to be an athlete. I got into hand cycling and monoskiing, and I quickly went the competitive route as a hand cyclist. And I immediately made a goal to go to the Paralympics one day. Fast forward a few years down the road, I decided to switch to skiing, given I don't have a cycler's build and I like going downhill better. And at the time I was looking for ways to supplement that income or adaptive sports, competitive sports is very, very expensive. So a couple years ago, I was in Colorado skiing, where I met Craig Kennedy, and he told me about Juice Plus. And the first time I heard about it, it went in one ear and out the other, and I just didn't hear it right. A year later, I was at a race camp, and I came across him again. He had been my ski instructor, actually, and when I came across him the second time, I told him about the issues. I was looking for sponsors, and I wasn't having much luck. And he said, you know what, why don't you join our team? Why don't you check out what we're doing? And I knew nothing about the product, but Craig and I had become good friends, and I trusted him. And he told me all about what it's doing for him financially and physically, and I said, sign me up. And that's when I started actually taking the product every single day, and I realized the benefits of what Juice Plus did for me as a paraplegic, as an athlete, as somebody with a lot of back pain, as somebody who pushes my body to the limit to train constantly. And then I realized that it's not only helping me physically, it's helping me financially. And right now it is allowing me to pursue my goal of making the Paralympics in 2022. Right now I live in Denver and I train up in Winter Park, and I'm up there 3 to 4 days a week, midweek, while I do my speaking and writing on the side as a motivational speaker and writer, and now as a Juice Plus rep. And this is really putting me in the position to quit my old 9-to-5 when I was working for the federal government before I met Craig. And it's putting me in the position to chase my dreams right now. And it's really been one of the best things that's ever happened to me. So that's my quick story.
He's trying to get one of these. See that? U.S. Paralympics.
Yep. One day.
It's all about the hat.
Well, you just that's all I want. I just want the hat. That's the only reason. But without further ado, I would like to introduce this month's speaker. Curt Beavers is a graduate of Georgia Tech. He and his wife, Lori, are the proud parents of 3 amazing children, Trey, Hope, and Zach. Curt and his family love working together with a phenomenal group of people from all 50 states and 26 countries, inspiring healthy living around the world. That's a big reach, 26 countries. Wow. They started with a $50 investment 30 years ago, working from their home to find a way for Lori to be able to stay at home before their first child was born. And now, after 30 years and a $50 investment, it is a business with millions in sales. Millions. Their church family at Grace Fellowship has played a pivotal role in their lives and their children's lives. God has blessed them with relationships that have built a great business, shared the kingdom, and impacted families with time and financial freedom. This has allowed them to live out what Curt claims as his life motto: make a life, not just a living. Curt, that's a great story. I can't get over that number of 50 states and 26 countries. That is absolutely unbelievable. I can't wait to get there one day myself. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here tonight.
We're so excited to have you here, man. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'm excited about sharing with you guys for just a few minutes. You know, we all have stories, and to me, there's nothing more powerful than being inspired by a journey somebody else has been on, and it causing you to just operate maybe at a higher level. I get inspired by hearing Mike and Craig just talk about, you know, their athletic pursuits, and, you know, all of us hopefully have some kind of physical activity we like to participate in, but when you compete at the level they're trying to compete at, it requires dedication and work and a lot of focus, and, you know, a business is not really that much different than that. So I can totally understand why Mike and Craig are succeeding in this business and in their life endeavors, because they did commit to something, put the work in to operate at a high level. And I want to share with you a little bit about that tonight. We've never done anything like this before. I did play college tennis, so I had a little bit of a background in competitive sports and what it takes to, you know, to play at a high level. So you work hard, you put in the reps, and you know, when it's game day, you're ready. And my wife and I didn't really have a lot of background to do any kind of business like this. I am from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a native. I'm a 7th generation native, back to the British coming over on the ship to Savannah, Georgia. And my wife's a 5th generation native. So we love our home base here in Georgia. We get to have 4 great seasons of the year, but we love to travel. This business has allowed us to do a lot of things and travel all over the world. We just got our 49th state with one of our friends in the business this year. We hit Maine. Got one more to go. I got to get Alaska. I've got business in all 50, but I've been to 49 out of the 50 states. But when I talked to Craig, mostly via email, we were chit-chatting back and forth about, really what was I going to talk about tonight? And they did tell you about the book I wrote. Well, Mike said my motto, and that being my life motto, it caused me to just feel like I had to get my message out. And I did write a book, not because I wanted to be John Gresham or anybody famous in writing books, but this business pays me incredibly well. But I felt like I had to get the message out. So when I get a chance to talk like this and share, just for the same reason that I wrote that book, Make a Life, Not Just a Living, I really want to share a message with you that's on my heart, that's in my head every day when I wake up. And we decided to title this talk tonight, Building the Life You Desire. I think there's something inside all of us, whether we verbalize it very well, whether we live it out, or we just kind of cover it up in frustration and make everyday work. There's this desire in each of us to craft and create this life that we dream about. Maybe you dreamed about it as a teenager. Maybe you dreamed about it together as a couple when you first got married. Maybe you're just at a stage of life where maybe you're not married yet, or you've been married and you've got a vision for what you want your life to look like in the future. That's awesome. My parents got divorced, and they poured into me this message of, discover your life purpose and pursue it. Discover your passion and pursue it. You've heard those quotes, love what you do every day and you'll never work another day in your life. And all those things became real and important to me. But I think most of the world has those dreams and things inside of them. But I think most of us never step up to the plate and swing a bat to hit the ball and make that happen. I think we just dream about it and talk about it. And that's really why that motto became my motto, is because I think most of the people most of the people around you, what they do with their life is they just make a living. And then the leftovers, after their 40, 50, 60 hours a week, the leftovers in their time are available to do what they really want to do. And that just seems so backwards to me. Mike said, we got in this business and paid $50 for my wife to kind of realize the dream. Yes, she did have this crying session one Sunday afternoon. I don't know if any of you all have a spouse that is like a planner and a very detailed person. Just to give you an example, if my family was going to go to Disney World in 3 months, my wife would already have the fast passes reserved and know which rides we were going to be on, during the day that day. She just likes to plan stuff out. And she had our life in her head planned out. We were going to be married 3 years, have our first child, wait 2 years, have our second child, wait 2 years, have a third child. Then we'd be done and we'd build this great, wonderful family together. So she had it all planned. And we had been married not quite a year. And pastor had preached a sermon on getting out of debt that particular Sunday. And that night she just, she was upset. She was just, we're never going to have kids. I said, what are you talking about? She says, I'm not going to put my child in a daycare center 40 hours a week. And we're never going to be able to just have you work and me stay at home. And she was really frustrated. I mean, just totally frustrated. And she wanted to solve, her emotions made me want to help her solve that problem. We wanted to solve that problem together as a couple. And so we just began on this quest and this journey. We had a lot of life plans, but that seemed to be our first obstacle and hurdle. And so we got on this quest to figure out how could she make $1,000 a month and quit her job. We didn't have to replace her full income, but if she could make $1,000 a month, she could stay at home. So we didn't know it was going to be Juice Plus. We just began to look. We had lots of friends and other couples. We were in this big church, and that kind of was the center point of our life. We did Friday night games together with all these couples and hung out with these friends in our life. And it was so funny because one day, as we had been sharing with these friends we did life together with, hey, if you know of anything Lori could do from home, let us know. We're trying to figure something out. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, this lady calls us. She says, you don't know me, but my name's Fran. And Ann from your church told me you were looking for something for Lori to do, blah, 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 blah. We had dinner at her house one December, and she cooked dinner for us, invited us over, her and her husband. They were amazing, just the most nicest people in the world, but they were not aggressive. He was an associate pastor. She had lost her job. She was the bigger breadwinner. She had to replace her income. And she just began to share with us how she had found something that had solved her problem, and she didn't understand the product real well, but she loved it. She didn't understand the business real well in terms of explaining it, the numbers, the money. But I remember all she said was, and we made $80,000 last year. That was their first year. And it was like, wow. Her story impressed us. And we left that night and, really not knowing if we could make $80,000, but she was this Mercy personality type, not a salesperson, real quiet, somebody you want at your bedside, but not anybody you'd hire for like with high energy for a sales job. And we got in the car and said, if she can make $80,000, I know we can make $1,000 a month. And so we dove in and we did. We got 38 customers our first month. We were so excited. We were excited about the product, but we were really way more excited about solving our little problem, getting my wife at home. We saw the light at the end of the tunnel. And I don't share this very often, but I'll share with you, that was my wife's really burden. And because we were a couple and we did life together, her burden became my burden. But let me tell you kind of the situation I was in. She was wanting to be at home with our kids for the future. If you've ever been to Atlanta, I know like in the USA Today last year before, Atlanta surpassed LA as the worst traffic in America. We have crazy bad traffic. The average one-way commute in Atlanta is like 48 miles. So here I am working. We're living on the northeast side of the big beltway around the city. If you can kind of think navigationally with me for a minute. We're not using any visuals tonight, but Atlanta's got this beltway around it. And I drove from 2 o'clock all the way around to like 9 o'clock. I mean, almost around the very top busiest section of town. So I was an hour and a half each way in a commute to work every day. And if you've ever done that, if I had to do that today, there's probably, a shrink and some pills I'd have to take. But I did that every day and I hated it. I was working in a real estate company and had big dreams. The guy I was working for had made $70 million the year before. And I was going to be his apprentice and junkie and flunky and figure out what he was doing so I could learn how to do it and do the same thing. I had big goals, big dreams. I wanted to make – it wasn't a money goal. It was really more of there was a life that I wanted, and I was trying to figure out a way to fund it. There were things we wanted to do, travel, trips, private school for the kids, driving a fairly new, decent car, having a house. When I grew up, my parents had always had a house where all the neighborhood kids came to our house. So even as young as we were, we wanted to have the cool house. Not that we needed all these fancy things, but if we had the pool table and the ping pong table and, all the fun toys for the kids, our kids' friends would come to our house. We'd have those opportunities. So I had these big dreams, but I absolutely hated that hour and a half each way, 3 hours a day that I felt like was just wasting my life away. The real estate market, the economy wasn't that good. So I really wanted to change too, but it wasn't we didn't see this business in the beginning. For the guys on the line, we did not see this business right out of the gate as an option for an escape for me to change my career. Now, you're going to see that story changed, but I think what Craig said in the beginning, yes, our business is dominated by lots of amazing women, but one of the reasons is our business model is just as much a men's business as a women's business, but you do have a lot of men that are still the primary breadwinner in the home, and a lot of amazing women want to be home with their kids, and they've got different, the priorities are where they could survive on a part-time income. So you see the front door to our business in many situations being available to a stay-at-home mom or somebody that wants to make some part-time income. But what happens is if you really begin to treat this like a business instead of a hobby or a play toy, the top people in my organization and my company around the world, they're couples working together. I mean, there are as many men achieving at high levels with their spouses as there are just women doing this business. So I don't want you to think that it is a designed and set up for women, but it is the front door and the entry point. And also not just from a monetary perspective, but if you think about society, with the moms a lot of times being the gatekeepers of the homes for nutrition, taking care of the kids. A lot of times they're the ones that bring the healthy food and things into the home. This product, which is the number one whole food nutrition product in the world, with amazing research, MD Anderson, Vanderbilt, that proves our product works. So you don't have to worry about that. I mean, if you're looking at this business, you don't have to be a doctor, a nutritionist, because we've got research to back you up. I mean, we really do. And the product's made a huge difference in my family and our lives, from, just not eating enough fruits and vegetables to us, not getting sick, being healthy, being able to run, being able to, get off a plane and hunt at 12,000 feet and walk 10 to 15 miles a day with a backpack and a weapon in your hand. I mean, at 55, I just got up and did it, and I was running circles around the other guys with me, So we're healthy, but you don't have to worry about the product. The research is there. But as you begin to dive into this thing, you'll see that the women may be the front door because of their role, and maybe they can survive on a part-time income. But that was true for us too. 38 customers the first month. We hit our $1,000 goal. But after 30 days, something very interesting happened. And that is our upline, who was sweet and amazing, they really couldn't help us. They didn't understand the business. They could encourage and support us. But the person above them that had worked their way through seminary, had a vending machine business, kind of had a little bit of a marketing business mind in their head. They sat down and noticed that we had pretty good success the first month. We got 38 customers, and we began to share also with those couples that I told you about a minute ago, that we would, we were reaching out to, hey, Lori wants to stay at home, people we did life with, and they had problems and things they wanted to do with their life that they weren't achieving too. Now, a lot of them were in the same stage of life we were, and they wanted to stay home with their kids. So that was had that common thread with us. But there were others whose guys got on an airplane on Sunday nights, and they were gone all week, got home on Friday, and had 2 days to be with family, and got up and did it again. They hated their schedule, were tired of traveling. There were plenty that, we were just out of school. We were 22 and 23 years old. There were plenty that had gone and gotten this amazing college degree, thinking that they had life by the tails and they were going to get a great job and, work there for a while, have headhunters call them, get another job, pass resumes around, get a better job. But you know what they found out? They got a degree, and all of a sudden, what they thought was going to be this crazy, amazing life turned into a cubicle, a computer, and a commute. And they felt captive, and their freedom was gone, and they wanted more. So some of the people in that circle that we hung out with, they were just not satisfied with what a degree and a job offered them. They just wanted more in their life. But they were kind of ignoring the fact that they could do something different. They were just getting that paycheck and making a living, like we talked about earlier. And there were all kind of reasons. But so of those 38 people we shared the product with, 13 of them heard Lori and I share our story, and they said, hey, you know what? We've got some things we'd like to do different too. And if we don't change what we're doing right now, we can't expect things to change in the future. So 13 of those 38 didn't get in the business with us, but what we were doing was intriguing enough. 13 of them sat down with us, either one-on-one or went to an event with us to find out about our business in addition to the product. And 5 of them joined us. And when that happened, like I said, our sponsors upline, the person that was 2 above us, said, you know what? You all are going to build an amazing business. You need to be a national marketing director. And it's like, literally, we were so new. We were 30 days into the business. We'd made this huge list of names. We had gone and talked to people from our wedding list, our college buddies, church buddies, neighbors, family, friends, and we had gotten 38 customers. We were pumped. We had really, we had hit our goal. I mean, sad to say, but I mean, if that's all that ever happened, this business had achieved what we wanted it to. Let's go build a customer base. You make $1,000 a month and you can stay at home. But thank goodness they saw potential in us, And one of the things that I think today is I'm a mentor to a lot of people. I'm a life coach. I help a lot of people build businesses around the world. One of the things that's my chief job in life is help people to believe in themselves more than they do. to help people see the potential in themselves that they don't see. And just today, sitting here sharing my story, I'm so grateful that someone saw more potential in Lori and I than where we would have just quit and been happy with $1,000 a month. They sat down and explained this business to us. And they said, you need to be a national marketing director. And we said, what in the heck is that? And they said, well, it's probably the most amazing thing about our business today in that you've started a business where you and Lori have a franchise and you're making over $1,000 a month. You did a great job your first month. He was patting us on the back. But he said, you have no idea what's so unique about this company is you own your own business. You're an entrepreneur. But as far as he knew at the time, and as far as I know today, we're the only company that lets you be that kind of entrepreneur, but you have an opportunity to have full benefits, medical, family, health insurance, full benefits for you and your family. You get up to a $3,000 per month expense allowance, tuition reimbursement. It was crazy. And once that picture was painted for us, all of a sudden I saw that not just my wife's problem of not being able to stay at home, that obstacle that was in front of us, not only could we pass through that barrier, but maybe that hour and a half commute twice a day and the frustrations I was facing, maybe we could put those behind us too. And so we changed our whole strategy with this business once we understood, hey, there's more to this than just getting a few customers. There's a huge business out there. And if we can go out and help 5 people join our team and build an amazing business, we've got a 6-figure income for life, benefits, college tuition. My last child is the 3rd year in college, and they'll all graduate debt-free thanks to this business and the tuition reimbursement, which college debt just surpassed credit card debt in our country today. And I know of a doctor that just filed bankruptcy at 43 this past week because of his debt was just still killing him, So we've been able to do that, and we've never looked back. My wife actually made national marketing director our 9th month in the business, and I made it our 14th month. So we both got those benefits, and we've never looked back. But let me paint a little bit. I'll talk a little bit more about some strategies to get that done before we get off the call here in just a minute. But if you've never read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Cash Flow Quadrants, everybody on this call tonight is in one of 4 categories. You've got to decide how you're going to generate your cash flow. That's the dilemma we were facing. Now, you may be older, you may be younger, but at 22 and 23, we saw that if we kept going to work and earning a paycheck the rest of our life, we really couldn't expect much of any different results. What is that? The definition of insanity is continuing to do the same things, expecting different results. And you're going to think I'm crazy, but most of the world today gets up and goes to work, and that's what they're doing. They're thinking things are going to change. And it's to me, it's insane. We have a whole society in the financial arena that, what they want you to do? They want you to work for 40 years as hard as you can, fund your 401k, so when you're 65, you can retire and have fun. And that's just screwed up. Why would you want to wait till you're 65 to live and build the life you desire? You and your wife want to buy a boat and sail around the world, when you're by yourself and your kids are all grown up, or, just like some of my friends, Sean and Jennifer Myers, that are in this business, they got in this business. They sailed around the world with their kids when they were in their 30s. They didn't have to wait till they retired because they created something where they could do it now. And I've been able to do that with my family. Just the trips and the hunting and the fishing and the beach houses and mountain houses. It's not about things, but the mission trips, the 30 kids from Kosovo that come every year to stay at our cabins in the mountains, the things we've been able to do because at 22 and 23, we said, I don't want to settle for what life throws at me. In that book, Kiyosaki, he shows that everybody on this call, you're either an employee, you're self-employed, and the employee and the self-employed, there's a lot of security mindedness that drives you. The employee wants paycheck, benefits, and 2 weeks vacation. The self-employed owns his own business. He's in control. But if you ever talk to somebody that owns a retail business or a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant or someone that's a professional, They make great money, but they would tell you that their business owns them because when they're not working, nothing happens. Great situation, but you've missed the freedom element. Kiyosaki describes I'm going to give you the fourth category first, and that's the investor. That's when you've accumulated enough wealth that you can live off your investments. And most of America, whether you get a huge inheritance or you hit the lottery, most people never achieve that. I mean, just if you wanted to have $100,000 a year in residual income, and let's say you could earn 5% safe money on an investment, how much would you need to put in the bank after tax to have $100,000 a year in income? $2 million. You need $2 million that you need to save after tax to get there. You can get there, but it's not a likelihood for most people. And the category that fits our business model that Kiyosaki describes is called a business system, where you own a business and you leverage yourself. And in the beginning, we began to build our business. Lori and I went out and got 38 customers. 30 days later, we learned how to leverage ourselves, and we began to build a team that's turned into tens of thousands of people around the world by us sharing this vision, building a team, and duplicating. And, in the beginning, we only thought it was going to hit our $1,000 a month and meet the needs of my wife, which would have been amazing. But it's turned into a huge, incredible business. We've helped, well over 200 families reach the level of national marketing director and enjoy those same benefits. But one of the things that I think, I'll just give you a couple tips on how some principles that I think we've used to do this. And then when we get off the call tonight, after you listen to this, you really just get back with the person that invited you and sit down with them and say, hey, here's some of the goals. Here's what I want to accomplish. Show me what I need to do to build a business. It's only $50, no inventory. So there are lots of options, but there are two things I would share with you. Number one, we learn right in the beginning, and a lot of businesses are like this, but in our business, you get paid the following month based on what you do this month. You get the benefits, the expense allowance, all those things come, but your main income comes from your commission check that you generate from what you sell and what your organization sells every month. And I had to learn in the beginning that I needed to learn how to manage my month in order to drive that paycheck up every month. So I learned the skill of managing my month, and the principle's been in me. When you start something, start well and finish strong. So I learned to build that rhythm, Lori and I did, into our life, where each month, we started out each month with a plan, with a goal, and we attacked that month so that by the end of that month, we could drive and build our paycheck. So each month became the best month ever. So we started well and finished strong, and then we did all the activities and the daily things that needed to be done in the middle of that month. And we didn't, if it was 3 weeks into the month, we didn't just say, oh, well, we'll do it next month. No, we set a goal and we put the pedal to the metal. And you wouldn't believe when you put urgency on yourself. It's just like my son when he's in college and, he'll call me, Dad, he said, I'm so tired. I said, what's wrong? He said, I haven't slept in 2 nights. I said, why? He said, I had a test today. I said, what do you mean you had a test today? He said, I had a test today and I pulled 2 all-nighters, to study for this test. I said, did you just find out 2 days ago you had this test? And he's like, no, but, things happen, and he had to get it in. So he buckled down, got it done. He's really smart, gets an A on the test. And we all perform under pressure. So if you learn how to set goals, start well, finish strong, and you don't, at the end of each month, you don't settle for where you're at, you hit your target. So we learned how to manage our month. And from a time management perspective, that was something new for us. We'd always had a job and a boss and a schedule. And now we were in this business and we had the freedom, but we had to manage ourselves and be disciplined. And the second thing, you're going to think this is crazy, but I learned how to be a good steward. And we teach this principle. And I'll close with this. There are 2 things that in our society, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're an employee and working for somebody else, when you grow up, you learn, you hear your pastor say you should tithe. Those that are blessed should give to those that are less fortunate. You're supposed to save, pay your taxes, invest for the future. Don't get into debt. So you hear this message of be a good steward over your money. So we know we're supposed to be good stewards over our money. Second thing you're supposed to be a good steward over is your time. I don't know if you all have gone through the digital paper conundrum that I have, going from a Franklin planner where you wrote everything down on paper And then all of a sudden, the Palm Pilot, the BlackBerry, the iPhone, the iPad comes out. We've all got digital calendars, Google calendars. And I finally went all digital once I got my iPad, and I get the mail, scan it, and chunk everything. And now, but I've still journaled, you know, to wake up and have my quiet time every morning. I've still had a paper journal. And now I'm back where I use kind of a paper digital combo, because having that paper and pen helps you focus. But all that to say, everybody tries to manage their time well. Everybody wants that 25th hour in a day. They set goals, they plan. Whether you do it well or not, you know time is a limited resource. We all have the same amount, and you try and manage that. But here's the golden nugget. There's a third thing you got to be a good steward over. Money, it only takes $50 to start this business. So even if you've been a bad manager of your money or a bad steward, you got $50. Second thing is everybody has the same amount of time, 24 hours in a day. So you've got you're on equal footing with anybody getting in this business, because nobody's got any more time than you do or any less time than you do. And then third, you never learn how to do this, but you have to learn how to be a good steward over your relational capital. You've got financial capital, you've got time capital, and relational capital is God's put people and relationships in your life for some reason. And just like you've got a certain amount of money, you got this time in your life, you're given connections, networks, relationships for a reason. But most people never have a business where they can invest their relational capital to achieve and build a business that's so much bigger than they could do alone. Okay? And so when I bring someone on board in this business, I want them to trust me so much, just like their financial advisor or their time management coach. I want them to trust me so much that they let me become their people investment advisor. I want to teach them how to use that relational capital to not just go get a few customers themselves, but to build a business that can go into every state, into every country around the world, where you really do have a 24/7 residual income. You know, it's not like Walgreens where they're open 24 hours. No, you're in America, you go to bed. The people in Germany wake up, they go to bed. The people in, Japan wake up and they go to bed. The people in Australia wake up. Now it's time for you to wake up, and you've got a real 24/7 business. And you've got an incredible opportunity here to make a decision. You know, Lori and I made that decision many years ago, and now we're investing in other couples and teaching them how to do the same thing. My daughter just graduated from college. She's 23, and she built her a Juice Plus franchise while she was in college, and she didn't even need to get a job when she got out of school. You know, and we've been blessed, and now it's time for us, the people on this call that invited you. We want to pour that opportunity back into your hands and give you a chance to see if you're ready and step up and say, you know what, I got to quit doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You know, that motto that Curt mentioned tonight, it might be something he's kind of got on his heart and his mind, but you know what, I really do. This is a life I want to make, and just making a living is not enough. So hopefully you'll do that. I want to thank Mike and Craig for letting me be on the call tonight. So guys, I'll turn it back over to you. And if you want to, ask me any questions, I'm here.
Man, thank you, Curt. I got a few pages of notes here that I just took, and I love everything that you had to say. And what a perfect thing to talk to people about building the life that you desire. And this is such a real thing, and I think you really drove that home for us. I know Mike has a question. If anybody else has a question, let's keep them brief, just with respect to Curt's time. But I'm going to let Mike go first and ask his question, and we'll do just a couple of these, and then we'll let you go. Thanks again, Curt.
Yep.
Curt, again, just to follow off his sentiments, thank you very much. One thing that really stuck out to me was you got in your first month, you got 38 orders, or 38 customers. In this day and age, there's more businesses of this type, home-based businesses that people can choose from, whether it's a makeup company or an oil company. I don't need to name any, we all know them. Do you think, and that was, 30 years ago, do you think it's harder now to get that 38 customers in your first month than it was maybe 30 years ago? Or I know we have the benefits of social media, but do you think it might be harder now than ever because the field is kind of saturated? I know we have the best company, obviously, but it is a saturated field. Do you think it's harder now than it was maybe 30 years ago?
I mean, I'll give you a couple perspectives. I mean, I feel like I've gotten 30-year degree in hard knocks in this industry. But, there are a couple things. Number one, most of the other companies out there that are in a direct sales type business model, most of them sell some kind of commodity. There are companies out there that have catalogs of 5,000 products, and, you can buy the same things on Amazon or at Walmart. Their products might be a little bit better, or they've got a particular angle, but, commodities don't sell well in our business today with the internet. But when you've got a unique product like we do, we've got patents, we've got trademarks, we've got formulas and drying processes, and, we're kind of the Coca-Cola in our industry, and there's not a Pepsi. And so we've got a uniqueness and a stake in the marketplace. Anybody that were to try and catch up with us today has got tens of millions of dollars to spend and about 20 years of medical research to catch up with us. So, you can get on the internet and search, or you can use the Siri or whatever on your phone and ask what's the most researched product in the world today, and it's Juice Plus. I mean, there's no doubt. So that's better than it was 30 years ago. When I got started, we had no research. When I got started, we had a fax machine that I paid $1,800 for to send in orders, and now I can push a button on my phone and place an order. We had a girl last week from Arkansas. She got 17 customers her first 12 hours. She signed up on a Tuesday morning, and before she went to bed that night, she had 17 customers. So, she was a mom with a diabetic child, and she loved the fact that she had found something that was going to change the difference in her family's life, and she started telling people, and she got excited about it, kind of like we did. So I don't think it's any harder or any easier. If anything, the fact that we have the research, back then I would have had a hard time going to a neurosurgeon and telling them why Juice Plus made sense. Today, whether it's a neurosurgeon or a soccer mom, nobody can tell me Juice Plus doesn't work because we've got research to prove it. And that makes a huge difference today. And like you said, this is a funny story, but because I have 2 grandkids now. My oldest son, when my son was born, our first child, we were excited parents. I was in the delivery room, and we were taking pictures, and we went home from the hospital and, got settled in, went to the drugstore, got the film developed, got 50 pictures, got envelopes, got birth announcements, put them in an envelope, mailed them. And within 30 days, at least 50 people had seen a picture of my son. Well, my son has a child 3 years ago, and same thing happens, but they take pictures, and within 3 minutes, 5,000 people have seen it on Facebook. And you can discount the fact that we have social media, but it lets business today operate at a different speed. And I think it's actually easier today.
I love it. That's a great answer, and I love the line, and I wrote it down. I highlighted it. I'm never going to forget it. We're the Coca-Cola of our industry, and there's no Pepsi.
Yeah,
that is awesome. I love that. I love that.
Does anybody else out there have a question for Curt? We've got a little bit more time here if you do. Anybody? And we've just stopped the recording. If anybody's shy and didn't want to ask a question, you can feel free to